Chairman Isabel.
Here.
Legislator Patel.
Here.
Legislator Kelly.
Present.
Legislator Sweet.
Here.
Legislator Thayer.
Present.
Legislator Hedwell.
Present.
Legislator Wilson.
Present.
Legislator Duchessis.
Present.
Legislator Peck.
Present.
Mike, would you show me the flag?
Absolutely. Right beyond it. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a moment of silence. Anybody that wants to add something to the pen? We have Thank you. Okay, public comment and presentation.
There's no one on COVID.
Okay, no one's on the internet either?
No.
Okay. Does the clerk have any communications?
I just wanted to remind you guys that October 8th, which is a Thursday, not a Tuesday, will be our next meeting. That will be the budget review with the county treasurer and the county executive. I will have the budgets on October 5th, and once I get them, I'll reach out to you guys to find out how you're picking them up or if I'm delivering.
What time is this?
October 8th at 6 o'clock.
Thank you.
That's all.
The old one used to have the sheriff. General. Okay, very good. Let's have the approval of the minutes. I need a
So moved.
sponsor.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
I was to wait for it to pass over there. Okay, the acceptance of the budgetary transfers. Do I have a sponsor?
So moved. I'll second.
Those, sure. Okay, very good. Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Okay, we have the acceptance of the procurement record. And
So
we have a sponsor?
Second.
Okay. Got that, sir?
Mhm.
Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Pass.
Do we have any old business to discuss?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Just want to refresh everyone's memory that last week when we talked about the situation where we need to refresh our relationship with a new or perhaps the existing accounting firm that we use. And as we last left it, we were going to see if anybody had any other names that we wanted to throw into the mix. If you recall, we have to send out 3 requests for, not proposal, just a request for a bid on the package, which would be 1 year's worth of accounting services, which we all agreed that we were going to be satisfied with. When we last left it, we had 3 firms. We had our existing firm, Bonadillo. We had one, Peel Becker Chiaramonte, that was brought up, Weston Company as a local one. And then towards the end of the conversation, a 4th, BST, which is in Albany as well. So just putting it on the floor to see if there's any other suggestions to add any other players to that bid list. If not, we will authorize, the clerk will authorize the purchasing agent to make such a request for cost for accounting services for Montgomery County for a 1-year period, and then next year we will look to hopefully put it out for RFP for, an extended period of time. If I hear no other input, we can go with those 4 entities. And Cheryl, if you could please direct the purchasing agent to undertake such a task, as I would say as soon as possible, and let us know how that proceeds. And we will all decide, since it's a budget and finance issue, once we have the bids in, we will make a decision as to who we want to go with. Other than that, that's all I have.
Anyone have any discussion on that? Okay, let's move on to.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I said thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to new business, please. The resolutions, resolution number 149, resolution amending the 2020 operating budget, early intervention grant award funds, and that's by Legislator Peck and Legislator Patel. And do we have any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Resolution number 150, resolution amending the 2020 operating budget, IAP grant award funds, and that's by Legislator Kelly and Legislator Wilson. Do we have any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Resolution number 152, a resolution accepting, what's that, 151? Sorry, resolution number 151, amending the 2020 operating budget, 2020 public health, New York State, Heal Health Foundation, RFP for local health department, COVID-19 emergency response fund award, and that was by Legislator Sweet and Legislator Pepper. Is there any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Let's move on to resolution number 152, resolution accepting the FY 2019 State Emergency Management Performance Supplemental COVID-19 Grant, EMPG-S, from New York State Homeland Security, and amending the 2020 operating budget. That was by Legislator Fair, Legislator Patel. Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Resolution number 115, resolution amending the 2020 operating budget for Public Works, and that's by Legislator F and Legislator Thayer. Is there any discussion on that?
I have some discussion.
Okay, sir.
You're getting handed out to you now a spreadsheet that I put together. I went back and asked DPW to give me copies of the bills for the past, since 1/1/20. And then I also asked them to give me for the past 3 years for the January readings at the jail. This is just information to show you where your peaks and valleys are. They're pretty consistent, except for January of this year, where there's a spike of about 75,000 extra gallons. There's 2 meters there. I don't know why there's 2 meters there. I've tried to find out. There's minimum charges on each of those meters, I think of $750 each meter per month.
Legislator Patel?
Yes.
There's 2 meters because one's a high flow, one's a low flow.
Okay. Maybe you can explain that, the difference.
It's because of the way the flow goes, the 1 meter can't handle higher flow, so they just have 2 meters.
All right, thank you. So I guess my point is, you know, I'd like to continue getting more information on this. If we would like to hire an engineering company or some experts to come in and tell us whether this is realistic amounts we should be using there, whether the laundry equipment, for instance, there is using a high amount of water, and we can get better equipment in there that's more efficient with water, or there's several other options. You know, there's 4 wells, I believe, over in the Canal View Park that give about 50 gallons a minute. It's a long way to travel for a well just on a pump. You probably have to put up a tank, a holding tank, which would probably be quite extensive. You'd also have to have a grade C water operator. Anything over 26 people, you need a grade C water operator to do your chlorination and report to the Department of Health. The other option that I've thought of is possibly if, for instance, if the laundry equipment over there is using a lot of water and it's not potable water, maybe drill a well over there and just segregate that. And also in this is for every gallon you use, it affects your sewer charge also. And one of the things that was surprising last week when we talked about it as being water bills, but it's actually water and sewer. So I guess my whole point is, I think this is something that we should do some due diligence on and, you know, see if there's anything that we can do, especially since there's a 400% increase in our water charges.
Discussion on that?
Yeah, I mean, I know we haven't really gotten an explanation of what the 400% increase was, but I think we need to have some sort of an answer of why, you know, I mean, that's a huge increase from 1 year to the next. I mean, we should have either the village or the town or someone come in and say, this is why the increase is this much. So at least we can justify the cost, but I agree with you. You know, if we're going to be spending $175,000 to $200,000 a year on water and sewer, so it's a little bit less, maybe it would be well worth our time and effort to look into an alternative.
At least do our due diligence.
I would agree with both of those observations. I mean, it's certainly, you know, something we should look at. And Bob, what I was going to ask you is, would it be safe to assume the meter that handles the more gallonage is the one that's the higher performing one?
The higher flow.
Or higher flow one?
The way it's set up is there's like 2 pipes that feed.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is when the one pipe is maxed out, it goes to what they call a high flow meter. And that's how they get readings on both. So then what happens is when the flows go down, say like during the middle of the night there's hardly any flows, the water then would be going through a smaller pipe, going through a smaller meter.
I see.
So that's how you get your two flows.
So there's no way, as Legislator Patel was bringing up, you know, perhaps one of the functions on that property, you know, the laundry, using, you know, a lot of gallons that may be worth us drilling a well to provide our own water with, we can't say that that's definitely going through one of these 2 meters here. It would be a combination of both.
Everything goes
Okay.
through.
So we need an expert to look at it.
And if you did do a well, you would have to meter that because they would want, that's how they're going to charge you your sewer. Even though you don't use their water, you would be metered basically what comes in, comes out.
Right.
Except 12 ounces at a time more.
On Brian's comment, in my last year being the mayor, there was always a big complaint about the water and sewer rates in the village of Fultonville being too high, which they weren't really too high compared to everyone else around. As soon as I left as being the mayor, the village board lowered the water and sewer rates to the residents in the village, not really knowing what they were doing. Then they also realized that they were going broke. And the only way, because they weren't gonna raise the taxes, because that was one of the first things they said, we're not raising the taxes on the people in the village. And we lowered the rates, look how good we did. But the first thing they did was, went to the town, and they raised the rates unbelievable on the backs of another government. And that's what they did, they just moved it from one to the other. And that's where the 400,
Because we have the deepest pockets.
Well, Bob's saying that it did to the town, and then the town is passing it
Right, I
through to
mean,
you.
ultimately, that's why it's ended up
Yeah.
happening to us. Well, I mean, fiscally responsible move here would be to,
At least look at it.
yeah, take a look at it, you know? There could be a less costly alternative out there.
If it's gonna stay at that rate, I mean, do we know if it's even gonna stay at the rate that it is
Absolutely.
until they recoup the money? Will it come back down? You know, we need to get some explanation.
I don't personally think you're ever gonna see them lower the rates, because they're out buying trucks, they're buying stuff, they know that they have.
They're gonna depend on this cash flow.
So then we need to,
Make the move.
yeah,
But the only thing that scares me in this whole thing is that if we do the water, and we do the, what are they gonna do with us on the sewer side? Because what they could do is they could go 100%, 400% on the sewer, and they can get us on the sewer. And the thing is DEC is never gonna allow us to build a sewer plant. I just wish there was a way that somewhere out there, that when someone gouges you what they're doing and things, that there's an avenue that we could go back and say, look what they're doing to us.
Right.
This is legally, morally wrong of what they're doing. They're not being, and I don't know where that avenue is. I mean, we probably should have done it with the water, but, who do you go to talk to and say, this is wrong?
Thank you. Any other discussion on that?
I got it. With a 400% increase, that, what legislators we said, I think I'd be very comfortable running the camera down the main to make sure there's no leaks, number one, or no illegal taps.
Well,
It's not that expensive to run a camera down.
There are meters in their building. So
They're
there's,
beyond the meter.
the water comes in.
400% is shocking.
the usage didn't change. The only thing that changed is what we're paying,
is the rate.
the rate.
And the meter is in the building itself, so any leaks are above ground, and you'd see any below ground would not show up in your meters, because they're actually in the building. I mean, it's actually one meter that has two heads on it. So, but I mean, it's the 400% increase.
So the gallonage went up.
Yeah, but only that one blip there in the month of January, if you look at it.
And keep in mind that may be on the amount of inmates in the jail. And in January of this year, when they went to no bail, I would assume that your inmate population went down from the 250,000 gallons a
Are the
month.
lawns irrigated here?
I mean, in conjunction also with that, could we have the auditor go back through and give us some, history on the dollar amounts, just so we have an idea? It might not be a bad idea
I think it'd
to,
be prudent.
do a 5-year history look, just to see if there are any anomalies.
Mr. Chairman,
Right.
difficult to have this discussion without knowing what the change in the rate is. Because that would be an even bigger factor than the usage.
Well,
Like 400%.
It was a 400% documented increase.
Okay, and then in the next step, we're going to take a look to see how those monies are being used, because, and I get them confused, when water funds, sometimes you can take fund balance out of that, I think and apply it to the general fund. And the sewer fund you can't, or it's vice versa.
Then you crack water you can't, so you can't.
So there could be some manipulation going on there to the benefit of one department over another. And I think that would be a part of any look-see that we're going to take.
Is that something that we can look into their books?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what transfers are being made and see how they're managing it.
Legislator Headley, you said that expenses have increased dramatically in that department now. You said buying trucks,
Yeah, but I don't know whether, I don't know where they're spending the money from. All I can go back and say that the town of Glen absorbed this increase for 1 year. So when it finally hit us, they were absorbing the increase for about a year before they even passed it on. After they couldn't absorb it anymore, then they finally had to pass it on to their customers and everyone. Everyone, the state police up there, I think Casey Canary, all those people up there, they got hit with the same 400%, just like we did.
So, excuse me, the old rate was $57.90 per first 7,500 gallons, changed to $225. The rates per gallon over 7,500 gallons went from 0.0063 to 0.03. So that's where your increase is of the 400%.
You know, using that 7,500 gallons as a threshold for a business or a prison, that's like a residential cutoff, you would think, wouldn't you? I mean, look at what we're using. We're never in that ballpark.
What's that?
Where'd you get those figures from?
I got it from DPW, and I got copies of the water bills, and I've got copies of the notice of water rate increase. I've got copies of the resolution to approve the water rate increases. I've got a letter from the town of Glen, resolution number 67 to adopt the new sewer rates. I've got also resolution raising the rates.
Can you email me all that? I've reached out with some information on this too, but that would be helpful to have.
And I got all these through DPW, through Diane. Our clerk actually helped us get it, so she can, well, she may have copies, but I'll get you copies.
One other, since you spoke up, Counselor, anything we can do from a legal angle here?
It's going to depend on what the facts show, so we need to pull that together. So if I can get copies of that, I've reached out to the town for some other information. Let's see what that turns up, and then let's look at our options there.
Thank you.
Let's wait for the committee on that.
Could we ask that our auditor perform an audit on this and give us a report? I think that'd be prudent, just to start.
What is it we want him to check?
I think we want to.
You got the gallonage here for a year, for the last 5 years?
I've got for the last 8 months. The auditor could probably tell us exactly what he wants to find. I mean, he does audits, I don't. I think he could be helpful in at least checking it out and giving us an opinion.
But we want him to look at, because I can let him know, we want him to look at usage, essentially.
Usage, cost increases.
Okay.
Maybe even the usage of what's causing the usage in the jail, whether it's laundry equipment or the kitchen. And that's at some point, that's a start, but then we have to go to an engineer.
Yeah, I was going to say that second part might be an engineering question, but you can certainly look at records.
Would it be more beneficial if our auditor looked up the past 4 or 5 years of the village's AUD and looked at what they did in their water fund and let him look at, because all he's going to do on us is just look at numbers and what we used, but he should be able to go back to their AUDs and give us some idea of what they're doing, what the village of Fultonville is doing on their side with the last 5 years with their AUD.
I guess
AUDs.
in answer to that, I don't have a problem with that, but what I just want to understand more, and the more data I have, I can understand, and I think if the auditor can get us more data and can put it into a spreadsheet or to quantify and qualify things, I think it would be helpful with me making decisions.
Do you want to table this amendment or this resolution?
No, we don't have to pay it.
Okay, sorry.
Are you going to reach out tomorrow?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, then, let's call a roll call, or do you want to do this?
Just
Okay, all in favor of this resolution?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Okay, resolution number 154, resolution amending RFP
Award.
awarding RFP number 06-20 and authorizing the county executive to enter into a contract with Enna Family Funeral Homes, and that's by Henwell Jr. and legislative Pep. Is there any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Resolution number 155, a resolution authorizing the county executive to sign a renewal agreement for Humana, and that's personnel, that's by Legislator Thayer and Legislator Wilson. Is there any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Resolution number 156, a resolution authorizing county executive to sign an agreement with MVP for the health insurance, and that's personnel by Legislator Peck and Legislator Wilson. Any questions on that? Okay, all in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Resolution number 157, resolution authorizing the county executive to sign a renewal agreement with, and this is a Matrix Era for personnel, and that's by Legislator Hedlow and Legislator Thayer. Could somebody explain to us a little bit what that's for the general public?
It looks like insurance for pharmaceutical.
It's for the prescription.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Resolution number 158, a resolution establishing position of principal account clerk typist and eliminating the accountant position. This is in the county clerk's office by Legislator Sweet and Legislator Patel. Is there any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Resolution number 159, resolution authorizing commencement of litigation against the National Grid Company, and that's the county legislature, and that's by Legislator Peck and Legislator Thayer. Is there any discussion on that? Legislator Peck, is that a specific case?
I think Counselor described to us last week that it is a specific case that somebody, Counselor, would you like to expand on it a little?
Yep, we have National Grid gets permits to do work, on the county roads. And part of that permit is that they will indemnify us and, cover us if there's ever a claim arising out of the work that they do. We have a claim, National Grid is dragging their feet on the coverage, so we might need to bring them to court over it.
They're charging the actual property owner or whatever, or something?
No, the county got sued for work that National Grid did on the county road. So National Grid is supposed to defend us in that lawsuit.
Okay, very good. Anything else? Any discussion on that further? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Resolution number 160, resolution amending the 2020 operating budget at the coroner's office. And that was by Legislator Wilson and Legislator Thayer. Is there any discussion on that?
Sure. I have reached out to Senator Barber's office in regards to this, because this is an unfunded mandate, and it goes really against the county. And asked him to do a little bit of research in their office and then see if there's something they can do, because we have to pay, no matter if a person is in the county for 5 minutes or 100 years and something happens, we get stuck paying for the autopsy, and it doesn't make a difference how wealthy the person is or how, there's no there's nothing there. So if the estate can pay for it and do it, we still get paid, we still have to do it. So I reached out to see if there was any way that there's any loopholes in this, that we can do stuff through DSS, through the legal operations, or could they possibly do something on their end to pass some bill so that this could change. And, of course, I reached out to them last week. They're supposed to get back to me in the near future. I'll probably still be waiting until our next meeting, but I will stick with this because this is one of those things that really bothers me a lot, that we get stuck paying these bills and they're expensive. I'm just getting tired of it with absolutely no avenue for us to do anything except for pay the bill.
We're responsible for anyone that comes into our county and pass it here, right?
No, we're responsible for to pay for an autopsy that the coroner feels that is necessary, that has to be performed.
Any other discussion on that? Interesting topic. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Resolution number 161, resolution authorizing Montgomery County Executive to sign a contract for solid waste disposal with Seneca Metals Incorporated. That was by legislator Headwell and legislator Wilson. Is there any discussion on this? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Resolution number 162, resolution adopting introductory local law F, that's local law 5-A, local law authorizing a lease agreement between Stewart Title, KCS Land Research Corporation, and Montgomery County. And that's the county clerk's office. That's by legislator Patel and legislator Sweet. Is there any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Resolution number 163, resolution authorizing the county executive to sign a building lease agreement, office space, KCS Land Research Corporation, and Stewart Title. And that's county clerk's office again. That's legislator Patel and legislator Sweet. Is there any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
And why do you need to describe why we're doing that? Is that because of the amount of work that they do, or?
It's because of COVID, the clerk's office for records has been closed. We have electronic records, but they're only good back to, I think, 1990 now, and they need an abstract of title goes back 40 years, so they need an additional 10 years, but this enables them to have kind of ownership, if you will, or rights to go in there at any time without making an appointment. They're actually renting the space and renting the equipment and our data.
Any other discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? What's that?
Resolution 163.
No, we're doing, yes, 163, I checked it out too. We're voting on resolution 163, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Resolution number 164, resolution adopting introductory law G, local law 6, a law established a document fee for online searching, and that was by Sweet and myself. is that to assist in this, is it for outside people to use?
That's so that the general public can get their documents without
So
having to
you
come
can-
and
So you can
search.
go in and do research just like,
No, it's all online.
very good. Okay. Any other discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Okay. Resolution number 165, resolution authorizing the county executive to sign a contract amendment under Info Quick Solutions Incorporated for online searching services. That's the county clerk office, that's Legislator Thayer and Legislator Wilson. Is there any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Resolution number 166, a resolution approving abstract of audited claims. County legislature by Legislator Bell and Legislator Wilson. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Resolution number 167, resolution establishing public hearing for the 2021 tentative budget. And that's the county legislature by Legislator Thayer and Legislator Isbell. Is there any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Pass.
Is there any further any further discussion tonight? And have a sponsor.
So moved.
No, we sponsor that. Second for that?
I will.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you very much. Thank you.